need inspiration, motivation, or hope? Do you let fear hold you back? Sometimes you feel lost or just stuck in your own thoughts, and you want a clear path to give you results. Then, my friend, you are in the right place. My name is Rachel Best, and I am your host of How to Make a Mark in the World, Finding Your Signature. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes.
Good afternoon. How are you doing? So today we have a special guest, and that is me. I'm your special guest today. So I decided, because I've been interviewing people. I started this podcast in September of 2022. And I'm always interviewing other amazing people. And I decided, you know what? I kind of want to share something with my audience today, things that I've learned, and I think it's important for you to know as well. And so I don't know if you've grabbed this yet, but this is my book of How to Make a Mark in the World, Finding Your Signature. And, you know, the signature part is all about our life's uniqueness and our experiences, our gifts, our talents, and all the things that we have, that we use those for our purpose. And if we put those things in our heart, that we can make an impact in the world and make a mark in the world. And that is really my whole message, is how to make a mark in the world, finding your signature. And like I said, I've had so many amazing guests on here, but I thought, you know what? I think it's time for me to share. I think it's time for me to share some of the things that I've learned that makes me an expert in what it is that I do. And today we're going to talk about the power of the mind. And so, you know, you might have heard this before over and over, the power of the mind, the power of the mind. What does that mean? And your mindset matters. The mindset that we have is it is so pivotal in what we do and how we create results in our life. And so, you know, a few years ago, I started with a company, and it really awakened me to what a conscious and an unconscious mind was. And I had no idea that we even had two things in our mind. And when I started working with this company, it started revealing to me about the different parts of the mind and how powerful our mind was. And I went on this journey because I kept finding myself stuck in certain situations. And I went on this journey to just start digging, and where I needed an answer. I needed an answer because the company that I worked with had an amazing piece of mindset, but it barely scratched the surface of what really the mindset, how the mindset was developed. And so I discovered that the mind had a conscious and an unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is really what drives our life. And I wanted to start learning, and actually I started learning, God just started putting pieces, different things into my life, paths of where I am now. And I really just want to share some of that with you. So, you know, 3 things I really want you to take away from this is to know where your beliefs come from. Be aware of the power of the unconscious and the conscious minds, and how you can get lasting results. So first of all, I want to start off with a story. Have you ever heard about the elephant being tied to a rope? So when the elephant is a baby, the trainer ties the elephant's leg to a rope, and it drills a wood peg into the ground with just this little tiny either chain or this little tiny rope. And as a small baby elephant, it tries and tries to get away, only to be pulled back with 0 success. So that baby elephant just gives up. It stops trying. It decides it's not capable. And that becomes that elephant's limiting belief in the identity of the elephant. So now you'll see the most powerful land animal, 10,000 pound, most powerful land animal that could literally uproot a tree, and it doesn't even try to get away because it believes it's not strong enough. So I ask you, what is holding you back? What is that limiting belief inside of you that's holding you back? Maybe it's insecurities, fear of rejection, perfectionism, lack of time, lack of knowledge, and feeling inadequate. Can you raise your hand to any of these? Because I know for myself, I have encountered every single one of those. So I used to have so many insecurities that I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't do it. Who would listen to me? And I, several times in my life, have been told to not talk or to be quiet or, oh, that's dumb. Why would you want to do that? Or you can't do that. And so that created insecurities in my mind. So then I just sat back and I just did nothing. And of course, who doesn't want to be rejected? Like, nobody wants to be rejected, right? Like, we all want to be seen. We all want to be heard. And then perfectionism, oh my goodness. Like, I used to, seriously, it was horrible. Like, I can laugh about it now because I've overcome it, I think. But, I think there's still some things I'm like, but honestly, I can really say I probably have overcome a lot of the perfectionism that held me back. Like, I think there's a thing of excellence to be an excellence and it not have to be perfect. And because what happens is when there's perfectionism involved, we think that, oh, this and this and this and this and this, all these have to be perfect and all these have to be set into place. But honestly, I've learned that you just have to take action. You just have to start doing it. And as you start doing it, then the things just start to kind of unravel and just start to happen. And so, I really encourage, like, if you're struggling with perfectionism, that just get started, because that is probably the biggest thing one of the biggest things of many that holds people back is, oh my gosh, it's not perfect enough. It's not this, it's not that. I have to have this in place. I have to have that. I have to have a website. I have to have, say you're wanting to run a business. Oh, I have to have a website. I have to have a podcast. I have to have this. I have to have that, because that's what they tell us. We have to have all these things. And what I found is when I just started getting started, that all of those things start happening naturally. And then also the lack of knowledge. So, you might feel like, oh, I'm not smart enough, or I don't know enough about that. How can I possibly do that? Well, when you start learning and that's where you hire a coach. That's when you start just reading books. That's when you start listening to podcasts, when you start digging for knowledge, because this is one of my biggest things too. It used to hold me up. It's like, oh, I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough. I can't. When we start to gain knowledge, that starts to create confidence, because with competence, it starts to gain confidence. Okay. And so what is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is just a false accusation that you make about yourself that causes a negative result. It's all in your brain. A belief is nothing more than an idea that you have in your mind, in your heart. Okay, that's it. Think about this. Okay, so think about your belief, whatever belief that is that you have about yourself, that limiting belief that you're not good enough, or you're inadequate, or who don't want to listen to you, or you fill in the blank. All right, do you see it walking around? Does it have clothes? Does it have hair? No, it doesn't. So where does it come from? That's the first thing I want to share with you. To understand the source of our beliefs. to start moving forward in your life, you first have to upgrade your belief system to understand where these beliefs come from in the first place. And there's a combination. They're formed from our upbringing. They're formed in social conditioning, our environment, our schools, the environment, the government. Sorry, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's that word? Our experiences. Those are the things that create our belief systems, okay? And so these belief systems some are consciously adopted, but there's a lot of them that are deeply rooted in your unconscious mind from when you were 0 to 7 years old. So by reflecting on your experiences and examining the influence of your environment, you can really gain some insight of where these beliefs come from in the first place. I know for myself, when I started learning all about this information of the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, how beliefs form, how all these things happen, and why I react or reacted in the past to certain things and some of the things I was stuck in. I realized, like finances, relationships, weight loss, a lot of these things, I was able to, after I became aware of them, I was able to connect them with, like I said, all the things that I grew up with. So family, environment, the location that I lived in, like all of those mindsets, we become a product of who we're around. So that's why it's really important to be surrounded by people of where you want to go. So one of those things too is to help you get unstuck. You have to be surrounded by people that are going where you want to go. Okay. And so, you know, as I grew up, as I started learning this stuff, I realized a lot of these things were holding me back. And as I started listening to conversations, to family and friends, and I don't live in my hometown anymore, but when I go back there, I hear a lot of those limiting beliefs. And so I see now how powerful it is of the environment that we grow up in. So that's going to bring me to my second point for you. So harnessing the power of the conscious and the unconscious mind. So like I said, by studying all this information, I started to learn there's two elements to the brain, to the mind, because the brain is the matter, the mind is what operates. So they're two separate things. So there's, again, the conscious and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind is responsible for your logical thinking, your decision-making, and your awareness. While the unconscious mind holds your deep-seated beliefs, your emotions, and your automatic behaviors. So, you know, we think that the conscious mind runs the show. That's your ego. Really, it's your unconscious mind that runs the show on autopilot. So the unconscious mind is meant to make life easy, so you don't have to worry. But here's the thing. If we're running off of systems that do not support what we're trying to accomplish, we have to Control, Alt, Delete, and create new systems and programs for our mind to run off of. We process over 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day, and our unconscious mind runs 90 to 95% of those thoughts and behaviors. So how we process and store this information is through a filtering system. We take in, listen to this, we take in 11 million bits of information per second. 11 million bits. That is a lot of information. And we can only keep 126. So we have 11 million bits of information coming in at us. and we can only keep 126. That's not very many. So that's like taking millions of toothpicks and throwing them at you, chucking them at you, but you can only grab hold of a few of them, right? Like you can't hold all those. That's a lot. So how we take in that information is through our 5 senses: our sight, our smell, our taste, our touch, and our sound. So it goes through this filtering system. It comes in through the exterior world through our 5 senses, and then through a filtering system of deletion, distortion, and generalization. So deletion is basically like, there's so much information. Like I'm telling you so much information, but you're only going to be able to remember a little bit, right? So you delete the rest. Or maybe you go to a seminar or a sermon or something, there's you and your friends, and when you're done, you're like, oh my gosh, that was like so amazing. I took this away. It was so good. And your friend is like, that's what you have from that? Because that's not what I got. So that's deletion. And then there's distortion. There's a man walking down the road and he sees what looks like a snake, but when he gets closer, it's just a hose. It's just a hose. And so that's distortion. So our perception will distort things. Okay. So this is the filter that it distorts things. And then generalization. Okay. There's hundreds, if not thousands of laundry soaps, right? But if I were to ask you to name, like whip them off of how many detergents that you can think of right now, you would only be able to name just a handful. And so we just clump that into a generalization of laundry soap, okay? And then after it goes through those 2 systems, so it comes in through the exterior world, through our senses, then it goes through the filtering of deletion, distortion, and generalization. And then it goes through another filtering system of language, beliefs, memories, decisions, values, attitudes, and identity. So then we create this picture of an internal representation in our mind. And that is the program that we create to act in the future. So to change your beliefs, it really involves the conscious and the unconscious mind. So there's techniques to communicate with your unconscious mind to reprogram and help you learn and replace new empowering beliefs. So by aligning the conscious and the unconscious mind, you can create a powerful synergy that really gives you that lasting result. So think about this. Our program in our mind is our thoughts plus our feelings plus behavior equals results. So let's pause here for a moment. Think about this. Is your brain running you, or are you running your brain? Your thoughts. I should say your mind. I'm sorry. Is your mind running you, or is your mind running you, or are you running your mind and your thoughts? And this is something to also consider. Our thoughts create feelings. Feelings create behaviors. Behaviors create results. So I want to challenge you to do an exercise to really start taking audit of your thoughts and seeing to really take those runaway thoughts and start putting them into perspective. So start taking an audit because you're probably not even going to know that you had a thought until you have a feeling. And because thoughts create feelings. So before you even realize you had a string of thoughts, you're going to have the feeling. So if you're happy, you're mad, you're sad, you fill in the blank, whatever it is, you've had to get to that feeling, you've had a string of thoughts to get you there. So I'm going to challenge you to really start taking an audit of that. If you really want to start becoming aware and to start just being really aware of what you're doing throughout the day, the thoughts and the feelings that you're having to get the results and the behaviors that you're doing, you have to start taking documentation. You have to start auditing what is going on, okay? So, this might be helpful too for you. So there's 4 different learning strategies, okay? And so there's the learning states. So there's the unconscious incompetence. So we just don't know what we don't know. We're just kind of ignorant. And I used to think ignorant was a mean, nasty, not very nice word. But honestly, it's not mean at all. Now, if you said you're stupid, now that's mean. But being ignorant is you just don't know what you don't know until you become the next phase. The next learning state is conscious. So then you become conscious and incompetent. So you're aware, but you're not perfected it yet. So there's that awareness. So this is where that exercise is really going to help you take your results and your behavior, and is really going to give you a awareness of where are these coming from, which is next, the conscious competency. So this is where you're able to use the skills with effort. You're learning, you're growing, you're learning how to do these things. And then that leads into the 4th, the unconscious competence. So we are totally aware of the skill that becomes automatic. So you've mastered whatever it is that you're trying to learn, you've mastered it. Now, there's a couple things to say to that. Is there's some things that we can do that we can learn. Like say you're on a new job, like you start a brand new job, you've never done it before, you have no idea how to do it, and you go through these 4 learning states, okay? But there's other things in our life that where I was when I really started learning about the conscious and unconscious mind and digging deep in to the programming and getting to the root cause of what was causing me to be stuck in my life. What was causing me from moving forward to where I wanted to go? And sometimes you need somebody to help you with that. Because again, the conscious mind thinks it runs the show, but it's really the unconscious mind that runs the show. And we sometimes need help with that to help create a new program. And I love affirmations. And on the flip side of that, I dislike affirmations because I tried this and I still wasn't going anywhere. I tried. I am losing 10 pounds by blah, 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 blah. Or I have thousands of dollars in the bank and da, 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 da. Like there's affirmations that are like, they're just, what do I say? They're realistic, but not realistic. Because if your unconscious mind, because basically what happens is your unconscious mind says, no, you're not. You're not, because you're running off of old programs, and no, you're not going to lose that weight. No, you're not. Or no, you're not going to make money because every time you get money, you spend it. That's your routine. That's your programming. Oh, no, you're not, because the program that you have comes up and it says, no, we're going to self-sabotage. I know this is what you want, but we're going to self-sabotage you. So that's what the unconscious mind does. So, we can have affirmation after affirmation after affirmation, but the unconscious mind says, nah, I don't believe that. Some of these things, like I said, affirmations can help, but it depends on how rooted the belief is. It depends on how you've stored that belief about weight loss, about finances, about relationships. maybe you've been in a relationship and you're getting ready to get into another relationship and you self-sabotage it. You're like, because it's like too good to be true, or, whatever. Like your brain, again, our mind takes things that we've been through. Our conscious mind takes things, goes through all these filtering systems, and then it stores it in your unconscious mind. So then when things happen, then your unconscious mind is like, oh, it perks up. It's like, I remember the last time. This is what we did. So this is what we're going to do again. And so then you're in this loop. And so then that's where, to get lasting results, that's where this comes in. Okay. You have to have somebody to help you. So if you really want to have lasting change in your life, I've had multiple different coaches in my life. And what I have found, oh my goodness, like in the last 8 years, I can't even tell you, I've had probably four or five different coaches in my life. And I've had people in different areas of my life as well. And because if you're in the picture, you can't see the frame, right? So you have to have that person to come alongside you to help you rewire your brain, to give you different perspectives, to help you with the belief systems that you've created, to help shift those belief systems. And so, like I said, several times in my life, I've had multiple, just in the last eight years or so, I've had multiple different coaches. And, I've had one bring me to a level and they couldn't bring me to the next level. I'm a big dreamer, and I know God has some amazing things for me to do. So when that person got me to a certain point, they couldn't bring me to the next point. So I had to hire a different coach. I had to start more education. I had to start learning and getting certified in different things. And so then they brought me to the next level. And then I got to that level. And then I'm like, oh, well, I need somebody else because this person hasn't been to where my ultimate destination is. They haven't been there yet. So then I have another person that I am, that I've worked with. And then again, they get me to a certain level. And then, so definitely be aware of that it is. And I know when I've had coaches that I've had to say, you know what, like I need to stop with you. That's kind of that can be a hard conversation because as they've been coaching you, like you fall in love with them and, they know a lot about you and you connect with them weekly and, you just have this connection with them. But it's okay to say, you know what, like you've been amazing. And I absolutely love, like, you've been so pivotal. Like all of my coaches they have taught me so much. And if it wasn't for them, I would not be here where I'm at. And I should say, Jesus, God is the one that really gets me where I need to go or want to go. And he's got the big goal and the big dream because he's put that inside of me. And he's also put that inside of you as well. And so, but just all to say, like, it is okay if you have to, shift to a different coach. And so, I just kind of want to leave you off with that, if you really want shift and change in your life, it comes to these 3 keys of knowing where the beliefs come from in the first place. And then after you know where they come from, you're aware of the power of the conscious and the unconscious minds. And then you get and how to get the lasting results is to surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do and are where you want to go, because they're going to be the ones to help you ultimately get to the big goal, the big dream, the big aspiration that you have deep down inside of you that you're so excited to accomplish. That's how I have been on this path of road to success. And I really define success of helping one person find what their meaning and purpose is and helping rise them up. That's success to me. When I'm helping somebody else rise up, that's success. Like we all rise together. together. And, we all have to collaborate and just, we're all in this life together, right? Like, I don't know if any one of us really have all the answers or have it all together. We can try to think we have it all together, but, there's something to say about just all of us collaborating together and just, leaning into one another and being okay with, asking for help. And so again, my name is Rachel Best, and I've had such an amazing time chatting with you today. I can't believe it's been 30 minutes already. And like I said, I will leave you off with that. I hope there was some amazing nuggets in there for you to learn and to create the awareness. And if you would like to connect, I would love to connect with you. You can go to my website at IamRachelBest.com. I'm also on social media, Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Rachel Best. LinkedIn, I'm Rachel Best. And on Instagram, it is I Am Rachel Best. So again, I look forward to hearing back from you and on to the rest of the day. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.
This is your host, Rachel Best, and I hope you loved the show. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, as well as share with a friend. If you would like, you can follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook under Rachel Best. You can also find me on my website at rachelbestspeaks.com.